Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel, E.D. Lewis Reviews, for another nocturnal review. Before we get started, please hit that like and that subscribe button and that little bell down below so you'll get notifications on my latest videos, like this one right here. So I hope everybody's had a great Thanksgiving, or is having a great Thanksgiving, or is getting ready to have a great Thanksgiving, those who celebrate Thanksgiving at this time of year, which would be those in the United States. I know Canada had their Thanksgiving quite a while back, and to them I say happy late Thanksgiving to them, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the States. Now, this review is one that's been long coming. I actually read this book quite a while back. And I read quite a bit of it while I was, after I had my second shot of my vaccine. And so I was all laid up in bed that day and couldn't go to work. There was no way I could get out of bed, hardly. But I had my book nearby, and so I ended up reading quite a bit of this book, a large chunk of it. And that is Mistress of Mellyn by Victoria Holt. Let's see if we can get a good view of it. So this is the book that I've been meaning to review for quite a while, but I just have not gotten around to doing it. It was published in 1960, is the first Victoria Holt Gothic novel. And let's just jump right in. So here's the synopsis that I wrote. A young woman by name of Martha Lee travels to Cornwall. We have another Cornwall Gothic. To become governess to a troublesome little girl, Alvine Tremellin, at Mount Mellyn. Martha finds herself mystified by those on the property, as well as the mysterious Alice Tremellin, the dead wife of Mount Mellyn's master, Conan. As she digs into the mysteries of the house and the late mistress, she finds herself falling for Conan, much to her own personal dread. Now, I left a lot out of that, of course, but this book is considered to be one of the most popular books by Victoria Holt. This is the second Victoria Holt novel I've read. I have a few others. I have one on my tablet. I have one right here, you can see, and that's Night of the Seventh Moon. And I have one in this Gothic Treasury by her, and I can't remember the name of that one. But anyway. Of course, the first book I had read, and I'll put the review for that down below, a link to that, and that was Shadow of the Lynx, which was good, but I liked this one better. I heard that Shadow of the Lynx is kind of considered not to be one of her greatest works, but it's a classic, and this one is one of her absolute timeless classics. This book's not as good as I had hoped and was expecting. It is very much one of those books that, if you're a fan of Rebecca, you'd really enjoy this, and this is available on Kindle. This is just one of the older copies. It's not an original copy, because the original ones were like 60 cents. This was 75. But it does have the original cover, because this is actually the cover that really started that whole Gothic romance, woman running from a house with one light on, and she's, usually running in a nightgown and stuff into the night away from the house. This is the cover that started it all, so. And this is actually from Crest, this edition. But the ones that were really popular were Ace, but I don't know if Ace did this one or not at any time. But this book, it is very much like Rebecca. It takes place in the 1800s, though, whereas Rebecca is like in the 20s or 30s, which came out in the 30s, though. I was actually expecting a few things to be different from this. I found the character of Martha, she was a bit, she jumped to conclusions a lot, and I kind of thought, why is she doing that? She doesn't really have a reason to jump to conclusions that easily, that quickly, and she has this terrible image of Conan created in her head. Some of it's justified, but some of it I think she's just kind of, weaving tales together in her head, maybe, creating some, details on her own. some surmises. Sorry, my eye itches right there. I also figured that the character Mrs. Palgrave was going to be not quite a Mrs. Danvers character, but, you know, something closer to that. And not as friendly as she was. She ends up being, you know, kind of a confidant of Martha, in a way, kind of like Mrs. Fairfax in Jane Eyre. Which, this may even have a lot of Jane Eyre qualities to it. So if you like Jane Eyre, you might like this. It's just not written in the same way, because it was written in the, you know, like the late 50s. And Mrs. Palgrave becomes, you know, like I said, becomes kind of a confidant, and they end up, you know, taking tea together in Mrs. Palgrave's room, and she has a bottle of whiskey that she kind of spikes the tea with, which I thought was kind of funny. And then there was this Peter Nanslock, who's a neighbor at the Mount, is it Whiddon? I think it's Mount Whiddon, is the neighboring house, kind of like the twin house across the valley. And I kind of, you know, he seemed like he was possibly going to become, this may be a tad of a spoiler, he seemed like he was going to possibly become maybe a potential love interest, or, you know, kind of someone to kind of vie for Martha's affections, but you'll just have to read that to find out. See what you think, you know. And then there's the one of the interesting things I thought about this book was the character of Gilly. She's the granddaughter of Mrs. Palgrave, and she was born with some, how to say it delicately, she was born with some problems, is that the right way of saying it? And then she was also almost trampled by a horse, which made things much worse. But she is such an important character. I love the character of Gilly, and she's so quiet and stuff, and she notices all these things, and she knows things that nobody else knows, and that comes into play later in the book. And she's such an interesting little character. She's kind of ghostly, and I don't know. She takes to Martha very quickly, and she also took very quickly to Alice Mellyn, the dead wife who we never see, and the circumstances surrounding her death, as well as the death of, I think it was Geoffrey Nanslock was his name, the brother of Peter Nanslock. But anyway, so that's my review for Mistress of Mellyn. Like I said, you can get this even on Kindle edition, but the cover is not as cool. It shows a woman, I think, on like some rocks and stuff on like a beach or something, and there's the ocean and stuff. It's a cool cover, very gothic, but this is truly, I'm using lamp lighting here, so try not to knock over my lamp. I'm trying to get this closer so you can see a better look at this cover. This is just kind of quality gothic romance cover art, you know, when they used to do paintings for, you know, for cover art. But anyway, cover art's kind of lost a little bit of its magic in a way these days. But anyway, so that's my review, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're going to have a great Thanksgiving if you have not already, and I'll see you back here very soon with another review, next Saturday, in fact. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.